My name is Genevieve Hathaway. I'm a travel and documentary photographer. And in this video, I'm going to share with you all the best photography tips and information that you need to know to get great photos when you visit Petra in Jordan. Petra is an iconic location and destination to visit. It is the great Nabatean capital, the gem of Jordan. It is on many travelers' bucket lists. I'm sure it's on your bucket list to go and photograph it. But it's a tricky site to photograph, so I wanted to share with you how you can plan your time in Petra so that you have so that you come away with successful travel photographs. The first tip is arrive early. You want to be there before the site opens in line because the sun rises usually pretty early in Jordan, a short window when the light is soft on the treasury itself before shadows and harsh lights start developing on the facade of the treasury. The other time that the treasury has nice light is late in the afternoon. So once the sun has kind of come up and over, the light bounces off the far walls and you get nice light, usually around like 4 or 5. So right when the site is going to start closed to visitors, that is also a great time. So I would start your day at the treasury and end your day at the treasury. My second tip number 2 is to get out, get hiking, and hike the trails of Petra. It's a great time in the morning. The light starts to get pretty harsh in Petra. Right after sunrise, you start getting shadows, but you can play with those shadows. You can make some interesting photos, and the light's going to get much harsher as the day goes on. So use that morning time to hike the back trails of Petra and try and find some interesting, exciting locations and different views that maybe other people don't have. My third tip is take some time to actually enjoy the site. So in the middle of the day, the light tends to be pretty harsh, so I would take some time to just stroll through the site, enjoy it, go into some of the intersections that are open. The rock in Petra is amazing. It's all these striations of bright blues and bright purples and bright pinks and bright reds and oranges. It's really beautiful. So take some time to breathe, take it all in, and just enjoy where you are. Tip number 4 is to photograph the royal tombs, and the second part of the site and the monastery late in the afternoon. So that section, the light gets nice as you're getting closer to sunset. So you need to plan your time wisely so you get out before the site closes. But you want to use the late afternoon when the light is softer to photograph the royal tombs, as well as hiking up to the monastery. You want to give yourself, I'd say, at least an hour to get from there to the monastery and then an hour back down. So you may want to go first to the monastery, get the nice light, and then photograph the other sites kind of as you're heading down. My 5th tip is to come back for Petra by night. It is not to be missed. Buy your ticket in advance. They only run 3 nights a week, and so they can get quite busy. And they put candles all along the seek that goes from the entrance all the way down to the treasury. And then all around the treasury, they have candles. And it's beautiful just walking down there and seeing the light flickering against the treasury. They do project some lights, and they have dancers and some music for the show, but it's beautiful. Bring a tripod, and especially that sort of window before the show starts. Once you get down there and before the show starts is the best time to take photos. Sometimes people are able to stay in the site while they're setting up before it starts. So if you're already in the site and you have a ticket for Petra by night and you have it with you and you can show them, sometimes they will let you hang around, so it's always worth asking, and then you can hang around, watch them set up, and then maybe get some photos right before everyone else arrives. You do miss out though on the walk down there with all the candles, so it's kind of a trade-off. Do you want to walk down with the candles, get photos on the way, and then take photos once you get down there? before the show starts and then enjoy the show, or do you want to hang out and just try and get as many photos when the candles are up before the show starts and everyone gets down there? So I don't know if they are still letting people hang out. That is sort of, can be hit and miss sometimes. So if you get down there and you have your ticket and you have been there all day at Petra and you want to stay and they don't let you, that's the rule. They may be sending everyone out and then you may have to come down. So it's kind of a crapshoot whether you can just stick around and hang out, but I have seen it happen sometimes, so something to keep in mind. My tip number 6 is buy a multi-day entry pass. Petra is one of those sites that you can visit over and over and over again and make amazing photos. There's so many things to see, and especially after the first day, hiring a local guide, there's so many amazing Nabatean structures, tombs, homes, commercial buildings, whatever they are, throughout the different canyons and seeks around Petra. It just isn't the main stretch. So the best thing to do, hire a local guide, say you want to do photography, you want to photograph sunrise and sunset, you want to get out into the additional sections of what was this massive city. Tip number 7 to photographing Petra is to show scale. The buildings around Petra are massive, and to show how big they are, utilize the people in the frame and the people walking around and the local Bedouin around to show that scale. So instead of trying to wait for there to be nobody in your frame, actually utilize the people that are there to show how big the scale of these buildings really are. And so my 8th tip, there we go, is to visit Little Petra. So that's a little farther away from the main part of Petra. Visit Little Petra. It's smaller, hardly anybody goes there. It's a beautiful place to explore. It's great for early in the morning, late afternoon, beautiful light, and you have some nice monuments, some beautiful hiking paths as well. You can hike from Little Petra into Petra. That's great to do. Do that early in the morning. Start at Little Petra right at sunrise or just before when you have some ambient light, and start hiking in. And it's absolutely beautiful. You'll get stunning photographs. You'll pass Nabatean structures along the way, beautiful carved buildings. You come in right at the end at the monastery, and it's a fun way to enter Petra. It really kind of gives you that flavor and that you really get to feel like you went back into time to what it would have been like to live there as a Nabatean in this amazing city. And it's great for photos. We have some amazing photo ops along the way of the valleys and of as you hike up through these sort of like up out of the canyons and down into another canyon. But I would recommend doing it kind of on a second day because by the time, if you start early in the morning, you'll get some nice light, but kind of by the time you reach the monastery, it's middle of the day and the light's not very great for the monastery. So you could always hang out there until the afternoon if you wanted to. There's a little cafe up there, have a coffee, have some food, chill until the light gets nice. That's another option. Number 9 for photographing Petra is hire a local guide and photograph the local Bedouin. Spend part of an afternoon, a couple of hours, talk to the different Bedouin that are selling things along the way. Hire a local guide, hire one of the donkey guys, a camel guide. You can arrange it ahead of time if you want to, because those people are the local Bedouin from the local area. Most of them grew up, especially people who are a little bit older, grew up actually living in Petra. They lived inside of all of these structures for many years until the government asked them to, or required them to move out to a city near Wadi Musa. And so they still are very connected with the land and have a very interesting culture and worldview. So if you love portrait photography, hire a local guide and say you want to spend a couple hours photographing local Bedouin, the local Bedouin that live and work in Petra. That can be a fascinating project, and spend some time talking with these people. They love to talk, as any Jordanian does. You'll drink 10, 15, 20 cups of tea with each person. They'll all offer you tea, coffee. It's a wonderful memory, cultural experience, and it's a great way if you want to make some portraits of local Bedouin. And my tip number 10, pack your sense of adventure, your sense of humor, because I can give you all the travel photography tips in the world, but there's always, you know, things that go wrong, things that change. In those moments, I find that is often when we can come back with some of our best photographs. I hope this video has been interesting for you and has been useful, that you've gotten some great tips for planning your own photography to Petra, and that Jordan is at the top of your travel list. It's one of my favorite countries. Please, if you haven't yet, hit subscribe down below to be updated every time I put out and share a new video, to stay up to date with all my videos. As well as please hit the like button and share this video if you know somebody who's dreaming of going to Petra, who's it's on their wish list, who's got maybe a trip coming up later this year or next year and they're a photographer. Please share this video with them so that they are prepared to make the most of their time there in Jordan and at Petra. And if you've been, or if you have any specific travel questions or specific photography questions about Jordan, please drop your question in the comments below. If you have been to Petra and you have a tip or a trick that I've missed, please share it down below. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear all of your photography advice for getting great photos at Petra. And thank you for watching this video, and I will see you on the next one. Goodbye for now.